once again, want to thank you all for joining in to us. Another session of Royale X Politikin. I'm DeWaun E. Robinson, and I'm here with my good brother, Mr. Percy Glover. What's going on, good brother?
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you for always accepting the call.
Thank
right?
you.
Thank you for being a community builder. Right? Those things are critical in this time today. Right?
Yes.
So one thing for sure, man. So this brother, if you don't know, man, you can catch him out there in multiple different community events. You can catch him out there on the front line holding it down, right? Actually activating the youth, right? One thing that we are responsible for in this community. So, my brother, man,
Yes, sir.
introduce yourself. Tell us about who is Mr. Percy Glover, for those who don't know.
Yeah, as you shared, my name is Percy Glover. I am truly a Flintstone. I love my community. When you say a community builder, you know, one of the things my mom always said, she said, if you see something that needs to be done, do it.
Absolutely.
So people always say, like, Percy, how do you do all of what you do in the community? You know, I live by that one statement from my mom. You know, there's a lot that needs to happen in the Flint community that I can't do alone, you can't do it alone. But if we all do our individual parts, we can make the difference collectively.
Absolutely.
You know, so I just live by that mantra from my mom. You know, if you see something needs to be done, you do it. You know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who am I? I'm a father. I have a 15-year-old son that will soon to be 16.
Come on now, father.
I'm a son. I love my mom to death. She's currently in a nursing home, but she's doing well, holding on. She's definitely my energy. Again, I'm a Flintstone. I'm all about the community. I'm all about, you know, doing all I can and connecting with people as yourself.
Yes, sir.
And creating change in the community. I'm also a formerly incarcerated person. I spent 11 years, 6 months, 4 days in prison. Coming up on my anniversary.
How many seconds?
How many who?
How many seconds?
I don't know how many seconds, but I'm coming up on my anniversary, December 31st, to make 24 years out of prison. It's definitely been a really interesting process. You know, culturally, things have shifted a lot. Back then, when I was released from prison, you couldn't find a job, you couldn't find resources. There's a lot of processes now in place where people are supported in jail and in prison. And not only supported, but are addressing all of those systemic and structural things,
Yes, sir.
you know, that we have not been great at. You know, we see a large number of people in prison for economic reasons.
Yes, sir.
You see the mom with 4 kids, shoplifting. I don't think that's something that needs to be criminalized because she's just doing her best in desperation to take care of her kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We see a lot of people who are criminalized because of mental health, which we have to be better at. You know, we got to be better at that.
Absolutely.
You know, you'll see the person who is living on the street, living on the corner, living under, you know, in a downtown area under the bridge. Then you'll see them in jail the next week. Like, that doesn't make sense. You know,
it's unfortunate too. You're right.
Unfortunate. We got to be better at not criminalizing people with mental health issues and concerns. And it's getting better. You know, there's social workers that are now riding with local law enforcement officers to, you know, address those critical needs of people. We're getting better. We're getting better, you know, from when I was released from prison. I'm an author as well. I created a book of poetry when I was in prison, and I had it, well, my sister pressured me into publishing a book. She's now gone. Yeah. She's now gone and transitioned a couple years ago. But I really appreciate the fact that she activated me, putting all of that in black and white paper.
Now you can still connect with her, even though that she may transition.
Of course, she's with me still. Yeah, she's definitely one
with spiritually, for sure.
The book, I define it as therapeutic self-help because, you know, writing was one of the things for me that could kind of, you know, get away from the normal madness that you see in a correctional facility.
Absolutely.
The book is called Concrete Lies and Abstract Truths.
Okay.
Subtitle is Poetry and Flows. You can find it on Amazon, or people can reach out to me for a hard copy.
Come on now.
Pretty interesting because I visited a cousin last week and I hadn't actually read the book myself.
How you not read your own book though?
I hadn't read it in a while myself. I hadn't.
I
I hadn't read it in quite some time.
Yeah,
I read it because I wrote it, and her friend was reading certain excerpts for me. I'm like, Wow, I was pretty, because you got to think, I wrote this. I wrote this when I was pretty young. You know,
Yeah, I was a little hot.
I was like, man, it's kind of clever. You know, I wrote this in my 20s. I'm like, I was thinking pretty deep.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting read. And one of the people say, well, how did you come up with that title, Concrete Lies and Abstract Truths?
Yeah.
And, you know, one of my passions I developed in prison was reading.
Mhm.
So, you know, you read 3-4 books a day.
Yeah.
I didn't want to sound like anybody else when I started to put my own thoughts on paper. So I
Okay.
had to push myself to be really, really creative. It's really unique in how words are constructed and how words will jump out from the pages from you.
Out that book.
Hmm?
Said words can jump out those pages, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like for like visual learners, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you kind of see,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what's imprinted, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
think even like what you're saying, like literacy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a big thing that we take for granted, you know, until sometimes like to read books, to read full books a day,
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I mean, I still had a lot of time on my hand, but yeah.
I mean, but I'm just saying though,
Mm-hmm.
you regardless of, you know, you had the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you chose to use your time to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what we should be doing. Like when we come up,
Mhm.
back in the day, we read a lot.
Of course.
Nowadays, we living in the microwave era. No one is reading. Like you get in the car and throw on Audible,
Mm-hmm.
and you know you'll listen to books,
Mhm.
right? But you don't necessarily. There's something different than reading what's in the text.
Mm-hmm.
That you internalize what you're reading, right?
Because you can feel it different.
You feeling it, but you saying the words out loud.
Mhm.
Right? That's something different.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to hone in on.
Definitely,
that.
and it's a piece that among several pieces that our youth are missing today, because
Absolutely.
it's not impacting their own individual creativity in a way that it should.
That's for sure.
Also, I'm co-chair of the Community Safety Collaborative, which is community violence intervention. As we've seen the last handful of summers, we've had a very intense youth gun violence moment, and it typically over the last 5 summers have around the end of March, beginning of April, it strikes. It just goes in a different direction.
Yeah.
It spikes high.
Mhm.
Um,
It does.
this upcoming 2026, we're looking to be so much more intentional.
Okay.
You know, with talking to kids in schools and kids at Boys and Girls Club and
Absolutely.
big brothers and big sisters, just
Mhm.
doing things broadly, cohesively to make sure our young people understand, one, the consequences, two, that they have an outlet and a resource if they are in a tumultuous moment and they feel like it's going too high and too far in the wrong direction. But
Mhm.
also a piece of education that, you know, we would really have to instill with our young people, especially our boys, is equipping them with the ability to walk away. You know,
That's a hard one. I think even now, like, you know, how we've
the
been brought up
ability,
to walk away from something, it's like the
it's not been
perspective of it
nurtured.
is negative, right? You know,
It's not
it's
been nurtured.
seen as weak.
Mhm.
I mean, and like people have to check, people opt out to prove themselves.
It's not been nurtured ever. I mean, think
No.
about how we were brought up: is
Yeah.
defend yourself,
Yeah, that's
fight
right.
back, hit them
Absolutely.
back.
Yeah.
When the biggest piece of
Yeah.
de-escalating the moment is just walking away. That could
See,
just save everybody face and keep it so much calmer and so much more cleaner, and things not going so crazy.
I agree. I agree. Let me ask you this: the plight of our youth today, because they say each generation get worse.
hmm
That's what they say. I thought we had it rough coming up, right? And we had a lot of resources we can take advantage of, and our schools was open, so we had the opportunity to get educated too,
hmm
right? The plight of the youth today.
hmm
What's your take on it, and why do you think that they react the way that they do, right? And what are some solutions to help them cope
hmm
if there's mental illness or mental health,
hmm
right? If there's the perception of being strong and still walking away,
hmm
what is your take on the young people of today?
So one thing that I say as it relates to solutions, a lot of our young people are missing exposure. They're not exposed to anything outside of school, the neighborhood, and their small ecosystem of what they see on a daily basis.
Sure.
It would change the entire direction of a young person's life if you took them out of the state, and
Mhm.
even if you took them out the country.
That's big.
Having that exposure to worldly things
Mm-hmm.
changed them internally, because now they're thinking not just locally,
Mm-hmm.
they're thinking internationally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a big component that is missing when we look at exposure. You
Yeah.
know, young people today aren't exposed to a variety of a wealth of different aspects of life that, some of our friends in their 20s, not very many have been outside of Michigan.
Not at all.
Probably many haven't been outside the country. It
Or
just changes your whole entire perspective.
or maybe even outside the 8-block radius that they habitate within, right?
Mm-hmm.
You brought a strong point up, is when you take youth and you expose them to a different community, right? And they see like all the pros and cons, they
Mm-hmm.
see the similarities, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they see something different.
Mm-hmm.
And then they may learn something that's working in that community that they can, implement in their own community.
Mm-hmm.
And I give you this too. We took some 18-year-olds
Mm-hmm.
to Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
right? From Youthville.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 7 of them.
Okay.
They never been outside the north side.
Mm-hmm.
They never been outside of Flint.
Wow.
For their first trip to go outside the country.
Right.
Exactly what you said.
Mhm.
It changed their whole perspective.
Everything.
They changed how they looked at
Everything.
things. They looked at different people and
Mhm.
they value other
Mhm.
cultures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought some of that stuff back to their own society.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what we're missing. We should just bust these boys up, boys and girls,
Mm-hmm. Of course.
to be able to go out, take them to HBCUs, college campuses, all around, right? That type of stuff be energetic.
Of
I
course.
wish that I had that opportunity back when I
course.
was like young and
Mhm.
I was able to see something different. Oh, I would have definitely turned up.
Yep.
Would have definitely did like, something different for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kids are really missing exposure because not only does it impact their perspective, it impacts their creativity.
For sure. For sure. I agree
Internally,
with
it starts to generate a feeling and energy from a creative standpoint that they now see themselves differently,
Come on now.
where they start to see and manifest creativity.
Come on. Yeah.
Our kids are really missing that.
Yeah.
Another aspect of something they're missing, we got to get away from the traditional education. Like we just said, we were taught not to fight back, hit back, defend ourselves. What's wrong with walking away?
You live another day.
Not only do you live another day, it's not as emotionally taxing. It's not as mentally taxing. It's not as stressful. It's not all the anxiety of me arguing with this other person that the more we argue, it's just going to magnify and create more energy that goes to a bad place.
Absolutely. No, you're
Just
right.
walk away.
You're right. That take a lot of energy when
It saves so much
Yeah.
that I'm extending in the wrong thing.
I
It's
agree.
okay to have different perspectives.
Yeah.
It's okay that we don't see eye to eye.
Mhm.
We shouldn't have to kill each other. We shouldn't
Absolutely.
even have to fight about it. It's
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah.
So also helping kids understand educationally that it's okay to disagree. It's okay to be different. It's okay that DeWaun has his own unique thinking, perspective, outlook that's different from Percy's. That's okay.
Yeah. That's what make us communal. Like everybody, if
It
everybody
makes
was
us
the
grow.
same, if everybody
makes
was
us
the
grow.
same, you'd be the same situation. But when you got different perspectives and people looking at it from a different view, right? A different lens, right? That makes the picture more fluid, right? And I think, if we can encourage our young people of today, if we can give them the adaptability to be able to think, not just for that few seconds that they in front of tension, right? Be able to take that and do something with it, man, and still remain powerful, still remain strong, still remain down, right? And walk away from a situation that didn't even cause for that type of energy. That's big, right? And nowadays, I see a lot of our young women, our young girls, man, they've been doing a lot of the tension and the fighting and stuff like
Of
that.
course.
Like what took place at
Unfortunately, yeah.
Southwestern just a couple of days ago. Our young girls need that same type of energy. Just look at it from our youth. Our youth definitely need to take those time to be able to think consciously, right? Because if you think about it prior to make a decision, then it can save you 11 and a half years of your life, right? Or it can save you from, going through the penal system and, based off a decision that you probably thought about later on, like I could have did something different. right?
Mhm.
I mean, even if it's an argument with your lady, right?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You kind of reflect on it after the heat of the moment,
Right.
and then you be like, oh, well, some alternatives that I could have presented or some
Right.
different way I could have went about it, right? Or just walking away and then just remain solid, not even carrying that energy. You know what I
Definitely,
mean?
100%. I'm glad you brought up the fact that our young women are in a crisis as well because
Come
they
on now.
are.
Yeah,
They definitely are. And you
yeah.
see a lot of the gun violence happen locally in the Flint area.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen any, we've seen some young women as victims who lost their life, unfortunately. We
Yeah.
haven't seen any who actually pulled the trigger. But we have seen a lot of young women who were the sharers of intel. So they'll say, "Oh, Percy, your ops is over here. You need to go get them," and things like that.
Come on, you know
That
I
we
be. You
that
know
we
I be.
also have to be just as committed to understand that our young women have a level of involvement also that needs to be
That's
addressed.
real.
You know, when we talk about solutions for our young people, um, as older people who have more season, we also got to be open to listen to them. You know, our
You
young
do.
people
You do.
a lot of times don't feel comfortable with open up because I'm in my 50s. So I'll be very transparent. A lot of my people my age are very judgmental and very critical. I probably, if I was a young person, I probably wouldn't want to open up either. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be more open minded to just listen,
There you
you
go.
know.
There you go.
And if I had, and I mean, there's a long list of things we can examine to understand how we can support our young people. But I'll also say we have to be overly committed in nurturing relationships with our young people. You
Mm-hmm.
know, to have influence over people is to have a relationship with
Yes,
a
sir.
person. You know,
Yes, sir.
you can't have,
Let's start there. Let's start
yeah,
right there.
you can't have a great deal of influence over a person without having any piece of relationship. So we have to be very active and proactive in nurturing relationship with our young
That's right.
people. You
I
know.
agree. I agree. That's the thing, man. One thing I do dislike, you know what I'm saying, when the ones that's supposed to be responsible for the young people
Hmm.
say they trying to stay out the way.
Why? We
That's
got
what
to get
that's
in
what
it.
you hear. That's
We
what you
got to
hear
get in
from
our
right.
young
Yeah,
people way.
right. You know what
We
I mean?
got to get in their
That's
way.
like letting your child just do whatever he want because
Mhm.
you trying to stay out their way.
No,
Now at the end of the
we got to
day,
get in the way.
this is our village, these are our youth, these are our children. So we need to be in the way. We definitely supposed to be on that.
Hmm.
Like I remember growing up in the neighborhood, everybody on the block was in the way. And I guarantee you that kind of held some accountability because you wouldn't be running around here,
Hmm.
stealing, pants sagging, cussing,
Hmm.
and all that stuff. And you got Miss Wiggins, Mr. Jones, and all them on the block.
Hmm.
Everybody was responsible for it.
Hmm.
So and they will cut into you if they
Hmm.
needed to for corrective action. And I respected that.
Of course.
And that's what we expect for our young people today.
Hmm.
We don't need to be standing out the way. You don't need to be just letting them do what they're gonna do. No, it take every one of us, right, to
Hmm.
be able to get in a position to say like, "No, we gonna take matters. We gonna help guide them." And that's
Hmm.
what I'm hearing from this conversation,
Hmm. Definitely.
like solutions to help guide,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Listen to what they saying now,
Hmm.
because far too often, sometimes young people do feel like ain't nobody listening,
Right.
or or those don't, be so stuck in their ways that they don't understand it from a different, a different younger person.
Right. Right. Right.
You
Definitely.
got to be open to listen.
Hmm.
Right. So those are the things too, man. And I think those are some good components, right? To be able to help our youth. At the end of the day, our youth is our greatest investment.
It's the biggest. It's the greatest. It's the most important.
Mm-hmm.
It's the next generational
Yeah,
and the future of all of what will happen 10, 15, 20, 30, 40
absolutely.
years from now. So we have to be
Absolutely.
invested and wholeheartedly invested.
Come on now. Come
Have to
on.
be. Have
Come
to be.
on now. So any type of youth programming, and definitely want to bring you into the talk about our rites of passage youth.
Okay,
So we
yeah,
got
yeah.
like 30 young boys at Southwestern
Okay, yeah,
that we
yeah.
work with. I want to definitely we got a Friday, maybe next Friday
Okay.
coming up, man. Definitely want to get
Yeah.
you in there. Just breathe on them,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean? They need to hear it from different people,
Mhm.
right?
So I had a real moment.
Okay.
So last school year, I went to Madison Academy to speak, and I asked the administrator, Principal Drew, if I could bring a guest with me.
Hmm.
And she was okay and fine with that.
Yeah.
And I brought Mr. Joe Gill with me.
Okay.
And Mr. Joe Gill spent 57 years 1 month and 21 days in prison.
Like numbers, yeah, it's a long time.
Very long time.
Yeah.
So when I introduced him, and we're talking to a gymnasium of about 250 students and maybe about 20-ish staff people. So I introduced him. I said, Mr. Joe Gill has been out of prison for about 5.5 months. He spent 21,000 days, 21,000 plus days in prison. He spent 57 years, 1 month, 21 days in prison. The gym fell to a dead silence, complete silence. Then all of a sudden you heard one of the young people say, "God damn." And
they tell you a lot right there.
So, we tell kids and we express to kids, stay out of trouble, stay out of trouble, stay out of trouble. But when you give them a real life example like this,
this
is not my words. These are the kids' words.
Yeah.
Mr. Gill, you changed our life. If we were talking about doing or thinking about doing something wrong, we're not doing it no more. Because we didn't think or believe that this could happen.
Yeah.
They were emotional. A couple of young girls, they were crying. But we got to give kids the real life consequences to their actions. Because if I knew I had any chance of going to prison for more than a decade, I'm sure I would have really rethought everything.
I thought about that, yeah. I would have thought about it. Yeah.
And throwing, again, concrete examples in front of kids like Mr. Gill, their perspectives change. They thinking change.
Absolutely.
Because who want to do 60 years in prison?
Yeah, no. I mean, you be out there acting up and you think you can do some time in prison, but when them numbers get handed down, man, don't nobody really want to do that. You know what I mean? But you got to stand on principle, because I'm a believer. Like, man, if you did something, you gotta hold the weight, right?
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta
100%.
go down with the fight. I know even in my trials, man, facing 7 to 15, I'm lucky I had some good people that believed in the process and entered into the programs, the How the Youth Act program and our 7411 program. Those things help, but you still spending 2 years away trying to fight the situation is a long time. So I can imagine 57 years, you'd be like, you ain't trying to do that. So this is what we're trying to say, man. All our young people, man, listen. You don't want to do that type of time. You don't want to do no time away from your people, right? Because it's something different than you waking up in your bed and going downstairs to go get something to eat, or going outside, going in your car, right? Versus sitting in confined space. You know what I mean? Doing what you're told to do.
And one aspect that I really need to share that I hope the audience, whoever's listening, can share this with the young person.
Absolutely.
Technology today makes it almost impossible to get away with anything criminal.
You ain't lying.
Anywhere you go, if we were to walk downstairs, go out this front door, and walk south on Saginaw a few blocks, and turn around and walk several blocks north on Saginaw, we are seen by 1,000 different cameras.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hear that, right?
It's impossible to do anything criminal today and get away with it.
You got your
technology is intense. Last year I went to the National Shares Association conference, and there's a vendor set up in large areas. So there's probably 400 different vendors. And I was talking to a person, and they had a camera system they were showing me. When I say this was unbelievably high tech, so they had an image, a video of about 20 people walking down the street. And basically,
they're showing y'all this
in
real time.
Yeah, in real time. Well, maybe not real time, we're recording, but yeah. So they're showing the video, and there's about 20 people walking down the street. And the house over here to the left, they were reviewing as a potential drug house. So the video, they were literally removing people as they're walking down the street away from the frame. They were taking like, okay, now we got these 10 people out the way, and said, oh, this guy right here, you see how he went in his pocket? And then they moved this person out the frame.
They moving them out the frame.
Man, it was up. And when I say it was so clear, it was like sitting high in with you right now. It was so clear. It was unbelievably clear.
It wasn't noisy where you can't look like you got something. But
man, you could see everything.
Exactly what you got.
You could see the mole on the woman's forehead visibly. Like when I say technology today is so advanced.
That's interesting.
It's so advanced that it is literally virtually impossible to get away with anything wrong. And that's something else we have to explain to our young people, that if you're thinking about doing something, you're probably gonna get caught. Because technology, with the phones in your pockets, with cameras and all the different devices, I mean, even with the cars, you got GPS on cars.
You do.
It's impossible to get away. So we need to make sure our young people understand that not only is not worth it, and the consequences can be severe.
Yeah.
You can't get away.
Listen, I'm hoping that y'all paying attention. And what he just broke down is everything is being viewed. Everything you're doing, when you step
Everywhere.
outside the house, all that stuff is being watched, right? I really, what I'm saying, I like to be off the grid with things, right? But like you said, if you got the phone in your pocket and you about to go do something, you in a GPS, you in a new ride, right? You got the GPS trackers on the car. So I mean, all these different things is gonna get you placed at the location of a crime or whatever the case may be. So just be very, very mindful and think about that, right? Because we telling you exactly what they're looking at, all right? And we don't need nobody else to fall victim to it, man. So I think what you're saying too, man, is just being more conscious about your action and decision making, right?
Primarily, yes.
Primarily, you got to be thinking about that, right? At the end of the day, you know what I mean? We need you to be out here. Can't do nothing while you locked up in prison. Your family needs you, right?
And then, people, we see moments, glimpses in the news, on social media, that, such and such came home after 10 years.
Yeah.
This person came home after 20 years. One thing
a lot of the artists coming home too. The music artists coming home.
A lot of things they don't ever say. Prison is by far one of the most saddest places. It's one of the most depressing places. It's one of the most oddest and strangest lifestyles.
Yeah.
You may see some of the most ridiculous things in there.
Absolutely.
It could also be one of the most violent places. It could also be one of the most loneliest places.
Absolutely.
Like, this is not a lifestyle that is normal to any degree. This is not what you want to live.
Don't get it twisted. I know when they see the videos online on social media,
this is not what you want to live.
Like people hanging out having a good time. That is not it.
It's not it. It's so not it. It's a very,
be cooking up on the phone, watching TV, getting it in, right? That ain't what's up. Right? We need y'all out here, man. So definitely, I hope y'all paying close attention to what's being said, man. Definitely be mindful of your actions. Be conscious. Think about it before you make a decision, right?
Definitely.
Because it could cost you some time of your life.
Definitely.
Okay, we're going to turn it into some neighborhood news, right? This is the neighborhood news segment where we talk about what's going on locally, right? And we want to highlight the Flint water crisis settlement, right? The special master just announced that there will be some cash coming down. Yes, there'll be some cash coming down. There are 30 different categories for compensation. One will be in property damage. So that would be the first one coming down here. Should be released here. Should have been released a long time ago.
Yes, definitely.
Personally. But to be able to come ahead and say, like, somebody will be receiving something, hopefully this month in December, right? There has been a big push. We want to make sure that the Flint residents get it right. And it looks like the compensation amount will be between $1,000 and $100,000, depending on the damages. Now, for those who were 6 years and younger during the time of the water crisis, if you had any amount of lead in your system, right? Like I said, you was under 6 years old, you will be in the highest category. We want to make sure that we also reported that it was 27,000 claimants on a water crisis settlement. There will be a fund put to the side for anybody who have not signed up for a settlement thus far. We want to make sure you get connected because we do feel like you are owed something, right? There was a big debate, Percy, online talking about those amounts were very low. Remember, the settlement was like $465 million. Now you got compounded interest because it's been sitting in account for a while, right? McLaren kicked in another X million dollars. And so you have this settlement amount that's been sitting there. And I think one thing for sure, Flint residents need to be made whole. You got to compensate folks, right? I think anybody who worked, worship, live, whatever, went to school here in Flint deserve compensation. I don't care what it is, right? We need to make sure that people feel like something was done. No one has been held accountable. No one went to jail. Snyder is still out here. The people that was on the case, they was released from the case, right? It was just a fumble all around the board, man. And I'm just so just so hurt because that happened to our people,
Hmm.
right? Flint just had to be the poster child for bad water. And then the water pipes still not fixed. You got 18,000 plus service lines here in the city. I know those were seeking to get replaced, but then you got house lines. What about the people who own properties where them home lines was damaged,
Hmm.
right? That's another part that should have been dealt with that wasn't correctly dealt with.
And
So,
one thing that we should really learn, DeWaun, from all of this
yes, sir.
is that there was no research done to understand switching over to the Flint River as a water source. Did this make sense?
But Percy,
That
you
should have
lived
been
here in Flint. You knew that didn't make sense.
100%. I've
I
been
don't even.
told
That you
my
ain't even
50
got to
plus
get
years of life that the water was contaminated. It didn't make
exactly
sense.
as with pollution from GM, from old power
PFAS,
plants,
lead, mercury.
PFAS. You got dead bodies in there. You got all this stuff in there. Person
Hmm.
that should never be a source for human drinking water
Ever.
ever.
But also, if this was the consideration, why wasn't any research done to see if this made sense?
Yeah, you're
No
right.
research was done at all
You're absolutely right. They was looking at it as trying to save a couple of dollars,
for economic reasons.
but at the people's expense. Like that was wild. That was
Hmm.
crazy.
But again, like you just stated, for people who have grown up in Flint,
Mhm.
that would have made sense to us anyway.
Absolutely.
Because we, the first thing we would have been, our concern would have been, what about
Right.
the contaminants
You
that
would
we've
have,
been
yeah.
told for forever, all our lives, that the water is not safe?
Man, my people told me don't even play down there by the water. You know what I mean? Don't go fishing in there, do none of that, right? So I mean, so people like,
So
yeah,
how
but
we
I
have
agree
this
what you
body
said.
of government that didn't take any steps to research or resource to look at the safety of the water.
And I agree. I agree.
They did not that piece, not in any regard. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, you know what? I would agree with you. They definitely did do no research about it. But at the end of the day, you're right. When you got people who coming in, and at that time we were under receivership.
Hmm.
So you got people who coming in who don't know nothing, the landscape of this community, and they're making decisions on behalf of the people in this
Without
community
working with the community.
without working with the community. This is what you get,
That's
right?
what you get.
So y'all owe out, man. Whatever the case may be, you definitely got to pay up, and everybody should feel comfortable with a settlement amount. Don't give us no pennies and no peanuts, right? Because our children are at stake. Y'all understand what lead does to the body? It breaks you down, right? It gets in your bloodstream, then it hides in your bones, right? It takes away your memory. All these different things, right? You got these learning disabilities. All this stuff play a part when you get lead in your system. That's why they told you don't lick the paint back
Hmm.
in them old houses back in the day, right? So at the end of the day, we definitely got to make those things right. We'll be giving you more information, more news on it at 11 when it comes down to the Flint water crisis settlement. And then also, we did have a state of the city address. Yeah, Sheldon Neely made another state of the city address. This was his sixth one. I had a bunch of mixed feelings about it, right? I was just telling the brothers here earlier. Like, the thing is this Flint is in a peculiar situation. We have to really look at the real issues that we face on a day-to-day basis. We cannot highlight all the things that we think that are good, or even highlighting what other people are doing and claiming for our own. We have to be very, very serious about where we stand. We have to understand that Flint has a lot of work to do. We don't need to just focus in on building downtown, which a lot of cities like to build downtown and work out. We need to be investing into the neighborhoods. That means putting money into the properties because that raise your tax value, right?
Hmm.
That's a income for the city. But we have to look at how are we looking at this whole thing? How are we looking at safety,
Hmm.
right? How are we activating community builders and grassroots organizations that are doing the work on a day-to-day basis without those large resources, right? How do we go ahead and make sure that our seniors are protected? How do we create cohesion between our co-equal branches of government, which is the city council,
Hmm.
right? You had all these different components that could have been discussed, talked about, expanded on. I didn't see that, man. I just saw a lot of grand staging, and look at me. Well, and I know you said you didn't see it.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Okay. I saw it and I was dissatisfied. I'm just gonna have to keep it 100. Um, Furthermore, What I want to do is say we're gonna provide a community address here soon, man. So we're gonna get that prepared, right?
Okay.
And then we're gonna talk about some of the things. I'm gonna chime in with you, like we're gonna talk about some of the things for the community, right?
Okay.
What we need to highlight, right?
Okay.
Because we on the ground and we know what's going on.
Right.
On a day-to-day basis,
Mhm.
it's a lot of stuff we need to be fixing. So we're gonna come back with you, man. More news on 11. And on the national stage, yes, we're taking it to the national stage. We got to talk about our brother Sherrone Moore. Man, you know what? And let me put this disclaimer out there, right? I never want to be the one to always, I'm never the one to kick our brothers while we down. But we got to make conscious decisions. Like me and Percy were just talking about our youth making good decisions.
Mhm.
Now, when you get a position where you're making $5.5 million a year, you the head at the University of Michigan football team, which is a prestigious program, right? Been around for a long time. It's some things that you have to do to make sure that you stay strong in that position because a lot of people depend on you, right? And I think the brother had got into a situation where he was doing his thing. He was doing really good now.
Mhm.
Shout out to him, right? And then he kind of got off focus a little bit. Sometimes we get to messing around on the side, got all these different flames and stuff, or whatever the case may be. Because I wasn't there.
Mhm.
I can't say that. But all I can say is that this is a big loss for the culture, and I hate how it's being spent in the community.
Mhm.
What you think? And in the media.
So there's a lot of different factors and layers that we could talk about.
Absolutely.
One thing that touched me is the missing education.
Mhm.
So I heard a lot of people say, well, he lacks self-discipline, he lacks self-control.
Like they knew him. Like they knew what was going on.
So when I
Yeah.
heard those things, I'm like, okay, it's deeper than that, that for Black, brown, and men in marginalized communities that we don't get.
Yeah.
And on both sides, for males and females.
Yes,
So
sir.
the piece we don't get is the education around me understanding myself to understand how to identify the most appropriate woman that fits my lifestyle that I can grow with systemically, culturally, for us generationally.
Come on now.
My mom,
Yeah.
my grandparents
Yeah.
didn't tell me, Percy, this is how you learn about Percy to understand Percy and understanding who the woman is for you.
Okay. Okay.
And
We ain't had those conversations.
we didn't have those
Nah,
conversations.
that's not a
And I've been
conversation.
doing a survey the last few days and asking different people, men and women,
Yeah.
what did your mom and dad tell you about picking a mate? They're like, nothing. Call somebody else. What nothing. Same thing I'm getting over and over. Nothing.
Yeah.
We didn't ever have that conversation.
Yeah.
So this may not be specific to Coach Sherrone, but I know for on the male side that because we haven't got that education, we missed the mark in identifying that person that's for us.
Yeah.
And a lot of men and women
Yeah.
sway because they're not happy. They're not swaying because they're naturally cheaters. They're swaying because they're not committed
Yeah.
to the choice they made for somebody that is not for them.
They may have just liked the pretty face. And you hitting on something though, P. Like you might like the pretty face. You might like
It's all
the
those
coke
things.
body, right? You
It's
might like
all those
all
things
that,
that
right?
you can't see.
Yeah, all that old stuff. The light skin. You might even like white, snow bunny, right? You might like the chocolate sisters, right?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be, right? You might like something, and we as men, we may be attracted by something that we may see first and foremost, right?
That's usually the first thing that generates us.
There's absolutely do with generations.
And that's for women too.
Women too.
Yeah.
Make a point. But it's after you done sat down with them, after, they done came up into your face without brushing your teeth when their hair ain't combed, right? You want to understand, like, is this person somebody that I can grow with? And I think, like you said, like, we don't ever have no conversations like that. We don't talk about, oh, you know what? This is what works best for me in my relationship or as the man that I am and a partner that I need. I look back at my grandparents. They both 95. They've been together for 70 years.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, like, you know what? That's deep.
Very.
Because I don't see that too much often, right? But you're like, man, there was a lot of growing with that, right? It was a lot of soul searching. And like we planned a lot of things together. And I think sometimes that's what we kind of miss the mark on, right? In addition to knowing what's good for you, right? Do you properly plan with your mate, right? And if it's something that's going on or the issue, how do y'all handle it, right? Because you got eyes. You might see something, down the line or whatever the case may be. Not to say you get tired of dealing with the same person, but like it just sometimes it happens. What can keep that union together, or is this something that you wanted in the first place?
So one of the key things that is missing, we're specifically talking about Black men.
Yeah.
We haven't had enough examples of Black men happily married in our community in a very long time.
That's true.
If you go back to the 1950s, the social welfare system pushed the Black men out of the homes.
Absolutely.
because benefits will potentially be lost if there is a Black man in the home.
Absolutely.
So moving forward generationally, structurally, systemically, from a government standpoint and a media standpoint that only highlights Black men as whoremongers, that's what we naturally gravitate to. And that's the natural belief we have of Black men. There is a ton of Black men locally in their 20s and 30s and 40s that are committed to their wives. That don't cheat on their wives.
Come on now.
But those things aren't highlighted in the same way because it's not the same sensationalism or the sensational noise that generates people. People tend to gravitate to controversy. But
that's what they like. Yeah.
in this day and age, I see it as just as controversial to highlight a man that's happily married to his wife and don't cheat because we don't see that as the norms. So
we need to make that the norm, though.
We need to make it the norms. Yeah. Exactly. So we also miss having an example of that. I don't know if you know Aaron Jackson. He's on the City of Flint fire department.
Yeah.
So
man,
Aaron,
Abo came. We was all at the workforce together.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So one of the things Aaron always says, he says, I don't cheat on my wife because I never saw my dad cheat on my mom. How many of us has that example? Almost none of us. You know what I'm saying? How much? And when you think about it, like, wow, that's heavy. We don't have an example of that.
I used to see them out too. His dad, his mom.
Yes, great people.
Sisters. Yeah, they all
great people. Love it.
Yeah, I used to.
Jack's family is amazing.
Oh, Jack, yeah.
So one, we haven't had the instructional piece around the educational piece to understand us as we understand identifying a mate, because we don't know what that looks like. We get so much, well, it's a trial and error thing. That's not healthy. I shouldn't deal with 10, 15, 20 women. Even if I look at that from a financial standpoint, that's not healthy for my pockets.
It definitely is.
That is really damaging.
I don't care how much money you got.
That's really damaging emotionally. Because just think, if I had
all them different people.
If I had 5 relationships and say each relationship lasted 2 years.
Yeah.
Just 5. So that's 2 years with each person. That's 10 years of my life that didn't work.
Yeah,
think about
you look at it like that.
Think about what I spent economically and financially in the separation when I had to get away from that woman and then looked at the next woman.
For something that didn't work.
So we are taught all these.
I don't take nothing back. When I give you something, I give you that. You can have that. I don't even want nothing back.
Exactly. But think about the
loss
that comes with that.
It's like waste.
Think about also some of the language we use. Like we use words like pursue. Pursue means to attack. That's not a positive word to use romantically.
Okay.
We look at the word compromise. A piece of the definition of compromise means to settle. Why should I settle with my heart? Why should I just be connected when my heart makes most sense and fits well? You know what I'm saying? So the education not only doesn't exist, but also the education has been poor.
Come on now.
It's been poor.
And I think, like when you talk about healthy relationships, man, you're absolutely right. Because the only relationship that I see, like I was relating to my grandparents, we've been together for that long. But anything outside of that, right, I may not have been exposed to that type of, healthy relationship. And trust me, they didn't have, issues,
of course,
things that they had to grow from and stuff like that.
They worked through it. They made it.
That was the thing. I think they didn't give up on each other, man. So that's what we're saying. Like, And I love the example, you know what I'm saying, we talked about with the brother, man. He definitely raising his family, got the boys, and he's doing what's necessary. We need to highlight more positive relationships, right? When it comes down to the culture, we need to see that a lot more. Stop thinking about all these different women and strolling online. I think social media messes up too, bro. Like when we see all that stuff on Instagram and all that stuff on Facebook, and you see women on there, you know what I mean, like half naked and all those different things. It just make you feel a certain type of way. You get a little excited, right? And so that's something we got to check too, right? At the end of the day, like we got to be able to put out the most positive messages about us, man, because 50 years ago, that's what we were all about. 50, 60, 70 years ago, we was about black families, a mother, a father, and children in the household together. That was the standard.
That was the only standard.
That was the only standard.
That was the only standard.
And that's the only thing that was acceptable of. So I think that's some real work that man and women both had to take it upon themselves, right, to address.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
All right, well, look, we're going to enter into the X chat. You ready for the X chat, coach?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we are going into the X chat. This is the X chat. We're going to talk about some topics. Coach is going to throw out some random topics. We don't know what they are. And me and Brother Percy going to take 2 minutes to go back and forth to kind of discuss it, chime on it, expand, try to make sense out of it, right? What you got for us, Coach?
Trump and gerrymandering.
Trump and gerrymandering.
Upset with the Indiana Republicans for refusing to gerrymander districts, where he wants extra seats for the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And he feels like the only way he can get it is to rewrite the maps.
Absolutely.
Pretty much having black folks only voting for, all voting for together, no matter what district they live in.
Absolutely.
Much representation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they can squeeze out some more seats.
Yeah.
This was also based off of in Texas, where they did this in Texas already. And Gavin Newsom for California.
Yeah.
Responded.
I like that. Yes, sir.
So now it's back and forth. But
Yeah.
has said no. So this is the question: is gerrymandering politics as usual, or a direct attack on democracy? 2 minutes.
Oh man, it's politics as usual, and it's a direct attack on democracy. Man, them folks don't care. All they trying to do is get more seats out. When you think about what Trump is doing, they are trying to go ahead and make it make sense for the Republican Party. So if they can squeeze out some extra seats and get some folks in there that's coming with that ideology, then that wins them some more elections and that keeps them in position. So I think it's BS what they're trying to do.
Of course, and it's definitely politics as usual. That comes with opportunity because key word, education. We got to make sure community members are fully educated on the term gerrymandering.
Yeah.
Because we understand what that means, but most people won't.
They don't.
We have to fully educate people on the impact.
Yeah.
And how that influence and how that hurts the community and doesn't help the community. So it really boils down to, again, education.
And then looking at those examples, because you've seen those Republicans in Texas, they first were trying to come out with this, and then like Gavin Newsom in California responded, right? And what you don't want is a bunch of back and forth. You don't want different states to be trying to go ahead and implement different, gerrymander and different laws and out district other folks just to go ahead and kind of get a base to vote for one person, mainly the blacks, right? To vote for one black person so they get one seat and everything else is something different. We got to cut that out, but we should definitely show them practice about how this is played, what that's done to us, and the outcomes of those situations.
Of course, 100%.
Okay, that was unique. And big shout out to if you've seen I like what he did in California in the response, but you just don't want that back and forth situation taking place.
Private prisons versus the federal government. Recently, private prisons have been suing the federal government because they haven't provided the required amount of prisoners to their prison so they can make money. The federal government has promised they would stay at 80% capacity.
Absolutely.
So these private prisons have sued the federal government. This is the question.
Okay.
Should private prisons exist if they profit from keeping beds full?
Should private prisons
exist for profit?
So the question is, should private prisons exist for profit? You know, and I know you probably feel the same way, P. I'm so over private prisons. Well, I'm just, I guess I'll speak for myself. I'm over for private prisons, right? It has been nothing but a cash cow for a small group of people, right, that has benefited from keeping people in jail, in prison. Sometimes, like we said, they shouldn't even be there in the first place. If we talk about rehabilitation, we got other options that we can do. Everybody ain't got to go to prison. You said like a mother who on Section 8, who trying to get some food, may do a little shoplifting and go to prison for it. That's crazy, right? How about we give her a job, some employment opportunity so it changes her circumstance? That is a watch. And I'm glad to see, is you said prisons is at 50, private prisons is at 50%. It should be at like 20. United States of America got too many people in public prisons or private prisons, and mainly they black.
So my favorite word, education, education.
Okay.
So one thing I always share. So we talk about the term mass incarceration.
Absolutely.
I hate it.
Okay.
I tell people the only people that have been massively incarcerated are black men in America.
Absolutely.
That's it.
All the time.
No other group in the world has been massively
Not at all.
So
Yeah.
when you look at private or whatever, however the prison system is designed, it's directed to lock us up.
Oh, shit.
Us, primarily black men.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, primarily for consequences that sometimes there could have been some intervention where it didn't always need to end up in prison.
Absolutely,
You know,
bro.
so for me, I'm 100% against the mass incarceration of men that look like me.
And we are 100% against private prisons. Right? And we don't care about the mandate what they got with the federal at all.
Time. All right.
That was unique. That was unique.
Stephen A. Smith criticizing black women. Michelle Obama, he criticized her for kind of talking down to black men during the election cycle.
Yeah.
Recently, we had some comments about Jasmine Crockett, representative from Texas.
Yes, sir.
He speaks probably won't benefit her constituents.
Mm-hmm.
This is the question. Is Stephen A. Smith holding black women accountable or disrespecting them for clicks? 2 minutes.
Is Stephen A. Smith disrespecting black women for clicks? I think Stephen A. Smith is a disturbed black man who kind of lost his way, right? And when I say that though, bro, he kind of makes his living off of attacking black sports figures, black women, right? And I don't see no value in that, right? If you're gonna give that same energy to a black woman, you're gonna give that same energy to LeBron, then you need to be talking about Brett Favre. You need to be talking about how he took those food stamps from those Mississippians. You need to be putting all that stuff on blast. You need to be talking about Ben Roethlisberger. You need to be talking about everybody else in the same token that you're talking about LeBron and the black woman, Jasmine Crockett. I don't know why he was talking about Jasmine Crockett like that, right? That sister's a phenomenal sister, very educated. She know what she's talking about and she know what she want to do, right? I think it should be more of uplifting,
Of course.
right? If you're going to be balanced. But I know it's clickbait because everybody like negativity.
Right. So obviously, I don't know Stephen A. Smith personally or professionally. I would say.
Do you watch him?
Sometimes, not often.
Okay.
I would say that it's disrespectful when you have an opinion, but you don't communicate with that person. Because a conversation is everything.
I respect
you know,
that. Yeah.
You know, if you have a conversation and then I voice my opinion publicly, that's one thing.
After we done talked about it.
But to voice my opinion publicly without having a conversation, I would say it's disrespectful.
That's along the lines of disrespect. I say that too, man. I just want
because it's opportunity to talk.
Yeah.
Because you might be missing something, you might not understand something that she could share that may change your whole perspective.
And I learned that in life too, man. Sometimes though, you know, you might think of it from what you're thinking about it as, but until you talk to that person and get some clarity, right? Then you know it might make sense to you. Like,
Of course,
I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And it didn't even have to go. It didn't have to go off like in a negative way.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Thank you, Coach, for those topics, man. Listen, the X Shack is all about just having discussion, dialogue, and just strategizing on some issues that we may be, you know, thinking about as a culture, a community, as a nation. Okay, so I do want to do a business highlight. So highlighting a business here in Flint, Genesee County community, we want to highlight Shantae Smith, right? Shantae Smith is an Imperial man who has the clothing brand Unleash, right? He's located in Genesee Valley Mall. Make sure you go check it out, patronize the business, support it, right? Because he's doing some really great work. Not only is he making business, but he's also giving back to young people. He's opened the doors for young people to come in there. If you don't have the cash right now, you're gonna make sure you're straight, right? And that's what we talking about, right? That's product of, that's good business, right? That's operating in a genuine spirit. Like, you make money off the community, but then you're also giving back. That is good business, right? So we definitely want to highlight Shantae Smith. Make sure you go shop with him. He's located in Genesee County Valley Mall. Um, the store name is Unleashed. The brand name is Unleashed, and you will be unleashed once you put those apparels on. All right, man. I'm sitting here with my brother Percy, man. We've been having some nurturing conversations. We've been kind of having dialogue about a whole array of different things, right? So what's next? What's next on your list, Percy? What you got coming up?
So I'm still obviously brainstorming, preparing for 2026. I want to emphasize to community members 2026 is going to be some very important elections, some very important seats on the ballot for next year. We have a governor's race, we have a mayoral race.
Yeah.
If you have questions about understanding the roles and the assignments that is on the ballot, along with understanding the candidates, please reach out to myself.
That's right.
DeWaun Robinson,
Yes, sir.
different people who your Genesee County Clerk's office, your local clerk's office, in whatever city, township you live in,
Yeah.
to get all as much needed information.
Absolutely.
Everything is also really youth driven right now. We do not want to see a summer 2026 be like summer 2025, 2024, 2023 with our youth and the gun violence. Declaring and encouraging and asking and pleading with community members, get involved with our youth.
Yeah.
Take a moment, ask how they doing, and genuinely listen.
Yeah.
Ask them about activities and hobbies or new interests that you can maybe support and connect them to, or resources.
Yes, sir.
We definitely want to be, when I say tooth and nail with our young people, tooth and nail. Working on a couple of different projects that's not quite concrete yet. But I'll definitely share with you and make sure we get that out to the community. But yeah, definitely 100% youth driven and always encouraging people to actively, responsibly to engage and utilize their voice as voters in the community.
Come on now. Listen, 2026 is a big year. That's our election year. City council, state rep, mayor, all those things are up on the docket. And we always emphasize on local government. That's your most important government. Like, you can say you're going to vote for, at the national level, for Trump or Biden or even Obama. But at the end of the day, it's like the people that you see on a day-to-day basis, the people that represent you in your ward, right? And then the mayor of the city. Like, those co-equal branches of government should be working together. In years past, they have not. And like, what we say is we got to have competent people who are educated but have a heart for the people sitting in those seats. So you no longer are we going to accept 14% voter turnout here in the Flint community. We not even gonna play that no more. We are just doing the numbers. In the 2022 race, it was 22,000 people that came out to vote, at least for the mayors, right? It's split between 11,000 and 10,000, give or take. We need 100% voter turnout. And P, it's really a lot of our people that, a lot of our friends, our homeboys, like, I be asking them, they ain't even go vote. We've been talking to them all month about it, and they still ain't go vote. Listen, we need you to get your stuff together. We got to have you tighten up because you are the reason why these people are in office. If you vote or you don't vote, they in there, right? Whether you like it or not, you played a part in that decision. So make sure that you understand the primaries is in August, first Tuesday in August. The general election is the first Tuesday in November. Everybody should be gearing up to be registered to vote first and foremost right now. We need to have conversation with those who are looking to run. If they looking to run, they looking to be involved in public office, they looking to do something in the community, let's make those connections now, right?
Definitely. 100%.
Let's make sure that because we got to vet you out, because at the end of the day, the community, the people are the employers, right? Those elected officials work for us.
Work for the community.
So we have to make sure that we have some mandates. Make sure that you hold them accountable. If you call them and they don't answer the phone, you need to pull up on them at the council meeting, pull up at the mayor's office. You need to be on that type of time. It's like 90 days, we should be giving them a report card. Like, this is what you've done, right? 6 months, this is where you at. A year from now, this is your grade. That's important for us to understand. Be educated. Let's be educated voters. We're going to be working together all year long,
Of course,
to get that out there, bro.
Of course.
And we're going to have some standards setting up around here, because this is unacceptable, right? So I do appreciate the fact that, we do got a big year and we got some big work to do, right? And then also with the youth, make sure that definitely, man, if there's some young people that need to be engaged, I'm gonna call you in for the Rites of Passage program in Southwestern.
Please.
But then, any youth that needs some support, Brian Goldsmith had contacted. He contacted myself and Percy for the holiday walk. It was a situation going on. I guess some young boys, about to, fight or whatever the case may be. Percy did answer the call. Did come down. Right, big shout out. That's what the village is, right? I was just coming back from Mississippi, so I was just like, kind of like, trying to get back, But just in general, though, the fact of the matter is, like, we all got to be hands on deck when it comes down to our youth. We all got to play a part. It shouldn't just fall on one person. It should fall on a handful of people.
And DeWaun, we got to really give Brian Goldsmith a hand clap and applause, because his words when I got to Sloan Museum was, Percy, I called you and DeWaun because I did not want to see any more kids arrested.
That's right.
We got to applaud him for that, because he could have easily, when it got a security guard, he could have easily called the police. And he didn't, and it turned out great, which also was kind of risky because it could have turned out bad. It could have been a fight. It could have been a shooting. We've seen how these things activate in the community. It turned out perfectly, primarily because his heart was in the right place.
Absolutely.
He was in a caring space, more of a punishment space, And we need more people like that to say, you know what? There's consequences to everything. But consequences can be positive sometimes.
Absolutely.
And people need to understand that. They don't always have to be the extreme negative. They can be positive.
Yes, sir. Now, I think big shout out to Brian, man. Definitely, man. We appreciate you for having that heart. For, just making the calls and, looking at it from a standpoint of how you can help. Not hurt a situation. So, man, definitely though, man. And continue big shout out to the city of Flint, right? Want to definitely, man, make sure we give our love. In the holiday season, we do have Kwanzaa coming up. Kwanzaa will be getting started December 26th, going to January 1st. Make sure that you come on down to the Oak Adolescent Center, 718 Oak Street. Right there at the Oak Adolescent Center, we'll be doing Kwanzaa from 3 to 5 p.m. every day. There'll be a different presenter every day on a different principle, right? Giving discussion, and then we do a whole ritual, and then we got the feast coming up, right? So it's just a really good way of us just practicing culture, but then also having principles in life. It's a value system that's implemented. We need to continue to keep practicing that, being about that. So join us for Kwanzaa for that day for sure. Definitely, man. Give big shout out to the team. Big shout out to Coach Brian. Big shout out to Sam. Big shout out to Flintstone Girls Production. What's up, mama? Big shout out to the Royale X Politikin crew, right? It's just all around the board, just teamwork. Big shout out to our guest today,
Thank you,
Brother Percy. Man, very proud of you, brother.
Thank you,
man.
man.
You stand on the line. One thing they always say, like, returning citizens, they look to see when you're gonna fall off, right? Man. They look to see if you're really about what you're about, right? It's always like that. I don't know if you've been seeing that stuff on social media and all that nonsense. But the thing is, when you consistent and you really have a heart for what you're doing and you really care, right? And you're not just doing it just to be doing something, you're doing it with passion. It could be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. Ain't nothing gonna change. It's gonna be the same thing, right? So I commend you for coming home, coming straight to it, right? You know what I'm saying? And getting to it. I mean, that's what it takes. So just imagine if we had 100, 200 5,000 of it just coming back on this tip, right?
Right.
This community would be different.
Be so different. And we are part of the energy along with other energies where
That's right.
that is developing. So we're gonna get there.
Absolutely.
We're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there for sure.
And hope to see the day that we do, right?
Man.
I do believe that we're gonna turn it around. We just want to be here for it to happen. So
Yep. Thank you.
definitely, man. Big shout out to everybody. Tune in. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe to Royale X Politikin. Make sure you check it out on YouTube. It's all on social medias, everything, right? Make sure we appreciate your support, right? This is how we keep the doors going. It's how we keep the flow hot. It's how you keep the conversation going. And everybody who come through to participate, man, it's all love, man. So peace and blessings, right?